I sent my client a finished commercial and he just froze. And then he goes, wait, this is AI? Yep, built with AI, finished by me. AI gives you a raw production power, but you still have to turn it into a complete piece that feels premium. That's why I am so excited about Higgsfield and its Cinema Studio feature. The production part is unbelievably good now. In this video, I'll show you the exact workflow I use step by step. Let's get to it.
Start your day with something purely natural. Moringa oleifera, plant-based, vegan, a simple morning ritual. Bowl, milk, granola, packed with nutrients from one of nature's most powerful plants. Just open, sprinkle, add to your breakfast. No fillers, no compromises, just moringa. Moringa oleifera vegan capsules. Simple nutrition every morning.
Now, this is the Cinema Studio, and every single asset for this commercial was made completely within this tool. If you enter, you will see this. In my account, it looks something like this, where I generated every single scene necessary for this ad. And the only thing I really had is this mock-up image of the product, which is like fine, but there is only one direct front view, so quite limiting. However, I made it work. My idea was to start the ad with something that is relatable and interesting in case of direction. I imagine it would be like a POV shot from inside a kitchen cabinet, and a guy would open doors and pick up the product. From all the options, I liked the most this image, and you can see it was POV from inside a top kitchen counter with granola boxes, jam jar and other kitchen goods, and also with doors open so we can see the character there. But for the image to look this good and this advertising level, Cinema Studio is truly great because you have the option to pick what type of camera will you use, what type of lens it should be, and what is the focal length. This way it actually produces beautifully looking images every single time. You just still need to narrate what's in it and which image would be best for the job. However, probably every single one will look good in case of just visuals. Now, with this initial shot, I didn't need any input image because I really didn't care how would a man look like. However, from now on, I would need to refer to this very guy. And with this image, I generated my video with this button. If I click here on the video tab, some generations were weird, but there was one that I really liked, and it was probably this one. And I have used this image in 2 clips because I wanted it to be end of the first scene where he opens a kitchen cabinet, and then he will reach into it and pick up the pouch, ending up with the close-up of the pouch in his hands. So I needed one more shot for that, and for that you can see it was hand of a man 45 years old wearing a light blue denim shirt, holding the product in hand in kitchen top-down view. And here I uploaded also this image as a reference for the product, and also this image for style and color grading reference. I kept the camera settings same within whole video generation, and you can see that again there were some generation fine and some not so much, but I liked this one. But with this shot I really did not like this wooden countertop that is there. It doesn't fit the framing, and I want it to be clean shot of this pouch. Therefore, I did some changes in Photoshop because it is simply faster. And in here, I did a rough selection of countertop, and I told it to remove it, which it did. But it introduced in something like a part of his lower body, and I didn't want that there either. I removed that just as well. Also, with such adjustments, weird parts happen. However, you can fix it in Photoshop easily. Therefore, I did that just as well. And I ended up with this cool clean shot, which I exported. And with these two shots, I went to Video tab. And as you can see, I used the guy looking in the kitchen drawer as a first frame and this close-up as end frame. And it was POV shot from inside the kitchen cabinet, taking out a pouch, camera transition to man POV. Some generations were weird, but I managed to do one that works good. And yes, in that middle part, it's like a little bit not so clean, but I will fix it in post, no problem there. Because if you take a look at it, I used this generation as my second clip, and it was this one. He reaches in, takes the product, and it gets out into a clean shot on the product. But somewhere in the middle, I did some speed adjustments, therefore it's cut into two clips, but it works really clean. But with it, I actually didn't like the introduction itself, because how come the man just appears there? You need to like lead in to the scene. For that, it was really easy, because I used this very frame as my last frame, and I just darkened the image in Photoshop. So it started with the black frame. And from it, you can see he opened the door, look inside, and ends up at this frame. In here, you can see it is the case. So the black frame as the first frame and our shot of the guy as the last frame. The initial part is therefore done, like from black screen to the man, reaches in, take out the product, and you can see in here there is some forced motion blur to like cover those imperfections, and hero shot of the product. Now with it, I needed to like present the idea where you would use this product, and most of the time it's used sprinkled into the bowl of granola or something like that. And for that, I created a sequence of shots where man puts the bowl on the countertop, then he pours milk in, he sprinkles granola in, then camera pans, he takes out a pill, gets back, and sprinkles it on top. All this was made again with Cinema Studio. I ended up with this image, which I like, but again, I didn't like this towel here, and the bowl of fruit was down here, which I didn't like, so I did some adjustments and ended up with this image. But for the sequence to be made, I needed a couple of shots. And for that, again, Photoshop, because it's fast. In here, I have opened my image, and first I got rid of the towel, simple selection and remove. Then I added a bowl there, poured milk in the bowl, and a granola. But one more shot, it needs to be sprinkled with the green powder from the capsule, so it's here. With these shots, again, in the video tab, I just played with some variations and picked those generations that were fine. Here you can see he placed the bowl onto the table. Then there is a sprinkling of a granola, pouring of a milk. I deleted some generations that weren't that good, so don't like expect to get lucky on the very first generation. Most of the time it doesn't happen. You need to like get there through narration. I have generated some shots, needed to get back to the product itself, where I wanted to present one of its unique selling points, which is it can be opened and sprinkled into a meal, so you don't need to like swallow it. Some people don't like it. And for that, I have generated this shot, which is hands open the Mylar pouch placed on kitchen countertop, slightly elevated view, angle, green capsules visible inside, pouch placed on the countertop. I used again product image as reference and this shot as scene reference. And I was presented with this image, which again, I knew I would need to like tweak in Photoshop, because there is a hand and I want it there, but I need a part where hand isn't there, because you can see that from this scene with granola, it pans to the shot where it's only a product. So again, Photoshop. I removed the hand from the scene, which was quite straightforward. I just selected it and hit remove, and it did great job on the first or second try. Some small adjustments in Photoshop were necessary, of course, but I had this image, and with it I went to Cinema Studio, where I used Granola shot as the first frame and this shot as the second frame, and camera moves up. The transition isn't that clean, but such a commercial needs to be fast, 15-20 seconds. I know that this would be speeded up, so I did not overthink it. Therefore, I got that shot. Then logically, from product only, a hand needed to get in, and the last part was taking a pill and sprinkling it on the granola, which was done with this shot. And you can see again that in the middle I used some speed adjustments. I hide those tiny imperfections within such generation, and this sequence was basically done. Now the last part was again create a shot with the man and the granola bowl, which I made in image tab. I used our original image as color grading and phase reference, and then I prompted it that it's a man in kitchen standing leaning on kitchen countertop, holding a bowl and spoon in other hand. Great generations every single time. I just needed to pick one that I liked, and it was this one. So I changed it into a video. There was simple prompt: man starts to eat granola, takes a portion from bowl, puts it into his mouth and enjoys it. And the last part was a back shot, which was quite simple because I only prompted it with my product reference to create me a back shot, and I wanted this product next to a granola bowl placed on the wooden kitchen countertop. Again, I turned it into video, but with this very generation I used also a preset of camera motion, and you can find those movements here. In video tab you can see static, handheld, zoom out, pan left, pan right. Quite a handy tool. And this was basically it, because I generated every single asset and videos completely within Higgsfield Cinema Studio. But this process doesn't end there. I needed a music, I needed a voiceover and some sound effects there to elevate it to another level. I generated my voice in 11 laps. It took a little bit of time to pick the best voice that I would like to use, but I managed. And then I picked the music. And with all that together, I needed to get back to editing software for a second round of editing, where I needed to adjust duration of clip, speeds, transitions, so they match the beats, and also that the voiceover is spoken the way I want it. I put it together in After Effects, and then with this version 2 ready, I moved to Premiere Pro, where I added some sound effects there, opening kitchen countertop, then pouring milk, sprinkling granola. And to put it all together, I did some final touches in editing software with some color grading stuff, some of my tricks here and there to make already good looking video even better. But again, the main hero was still Higgsfield Cinema Studio, which allowed me to create this level of output completely from home with my computer. So yeah, Higgsfield Cinema Studio is insane right now. But the real cheat code is not the tool itself, it's direction. If you treat AI like a camera crew and you act like the director, you can make work that surprises clients. Hope you like this breakdown. If you want more, let me know, and stay tuned for another one.
Start your day with something purely natural. Moringa oleifera, plant-based, vegan, a simple morning ritual. Bowl, milk, granola, packed with nutrients from one of nature's most powerful plants. Just open, sprinkle, add to your breakfast. No fillers, no compromises, just moringa. Moringa oleifera vegan capsules. Simple nutrition every morning.